Today we're going to make a gorgeous tomato soup from scratch. It's easy and much healthier than the canned soups. We're going to start with peppers, red and yellow, garlic. I put in a carrot or a parsnip, or you can put a potato, just to give it some thickness. And of course 2.5 pounds of tomatoes that we're going to slice, and 1 onion. We're going to roast it on top of the stove for 20 minutes, and then we're going to stick it in the oven that's preheating at 450 right now. And then we'll cook it in there for another 20 minutes. And then after that, we'll transfer it to a big pot and add a couple of cups of chicken stock. With an immersion blender, we'll blend it all the way down to make it nice and creamy. Add half a cup of cream, and you'll have a great tomato soup on any cold day. So let's get started. Chopped the peppers. We're going to now slice up an onion, or 2. You can do 1 large onion or 2 medium. We have a pan on top of the stove over 2 burners, which has a half a cup of oil. It has olive oil, half a cup of olive oil on top of the stove. We're going to add our chopped up onions, our peppers, our chopped up carrot or diced up potato. Again, the carrot or potato is just to add some body to it, because everything's going to get roasted. Add our onions. Get this starting to sizzle. Add some kosher salt. Grab our tomatoes. Usually 2.5 pounds is 4 or 5 medium-sized tomatoes. So we're going to cut these up. Usually I clean our vegetables with vinegar to get any of that, if you buy it from the market, if there's pesticides and so forth. I try to buy the garden style, organic, because unfortunately pesticides are not good for your diet. Them up into little cubes, because everything's going to get roasted down. Put these in. Kosher salt. The best type of salt to use for cooking. Doesn't make it that salty. Add seasoning. We will add some pepper. Slice up your potatoes into small cubes and your carrots, parsnips into small quarters. Nice and thin, because don't forget we need them to get soft. So we're going to cook this on the stove until everything gets nice and translucent. That'll be at least 5 or 10 minutes. And then for 20 to 30 minutes, we're going to put it in the oven at 450 degrees. That's been preheated. And then we'll put it into a stock pot. See you then. Okay, so our tomatoes have been roasting here for more than 5 minutes. The onions and the garlic and the peppers are translucent. There's enough liquid here to soften the carrots and the parsnip, or if you put potatoes. Remember, just to add body, don't put too much of a potato or carrot, or it's going to overtake the taste of what we really want, which is tomato soup. So we're going to now stick it in the oven for 20 to 30 minutes, and then when we take it out, we'll put it into a pot with 3 cups of chicken stock and 2 bay leaves. Cook it down a little bit. Then we're going to take out the bay leaves, add another cup of chicken stock and 3/4 cups of cream with some basil and a little bit more pepper and with an immersion blender we'll have some great tomato roasted soup. So in it goes. And in a half an hour we'll take a look at it. So here we have it, nice roasted tomatoes that have been in the oven for at least a half an hour at 425. We're going to put it into our pot that's been heating. We're going to put in 4 tablespoons of butter. Put this stuff in, put your the stuff is the tomatoes. We're going to put our tomatoes and everything in here with 3 cups of chicken stock and bring it to a boil with 2 bay leaves. Don't forget the bay leaves. Once it comes to a boil, we take out our bay leaves, put another cup of chicken stock, 3/4 cups of cream, some basil, and then with the immersion blender, bring it all down. So let's do that. We're going to transfer this into our pot. Low sodium chicken stock, or if you made fresh chicken stock without salt, because too much salt, you'll blow it up like a balloon. So 3 cups of chicken stock. And bring it to a boil. Put in our 2 bay leaves. Reserve a cup of chicken stock to the side. Bring this to a boil. Add our bring this to a boil. Add our extra cup of chicken stock and 3/4 cups of cream. And take out the bay leaves. Put in some basil, pepper, immerse, and you have yourself a great roasted tomato soup. See you in about 20 minutes. Well, it has been cooking, steaming. Now we're ready to blend it up. Careful, steam burns. Trust me, I have the scars to prove it. So always open the lid away from you. Take out the 2 bay leaves. Add your other cup of chicken stock with 3/4 cups of cream. There we go. Add a little bit of basil. We're going to make some pesto with the leftover basil, which you can also see my recipe on pesto on my, I don't know what you call it on the channel, but it's cocinarista cook. Get your immersion blender ready. Be careful when you do the immersion blender because it can spit up. If you are worried about stuff like that, then put it in a blender. But this is a lot of stock. So blender, remember it's hot, and hot things don't do well. If you put everything in one blender, it'll make your blender explode. So it's best to have an immersion blender. Put in the immersion blender, don't let it just sit at the bottom. I always angle it a little bit. You angle it to get some suction, but don't angle it too much or lift it, or you're going to have it everywhere. Like we almost did there. We completely blended our soup, or immersed it, made it into a beautiful puree. Nice and thick with the cream and the parsnip carrots. You don't want it too watery. Of course, a little taste. Oh, homemade tomato soup. Qué rico. Buen provecho. Enjoy!